everyone. I'm Kevin Nelson. Here's a look at what's going on this week in the news. We begin with news from around the country. In a mass scene here on Catholic TV, Archbishop William Lori of Baltimore opened the U.S. Bishop's 4th annual Fortnight for Freedom at the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary in Baltimore by reminding those who gathered that when it comes to religious freedom, American Catholics and Christians worldwide are in the same boat. The Archbishop referenced the Sunday Gospel reading from Mark when Jesus calmed the storm threatening the boat carrying the apostles. The Archbishop said the boat symbolizes the church throughout history. About 1,000 people gathered for the opening Mass. The 2015 Fortnight for Freedom takes place from June 21st to July 4th, 2015. The closing Mass will be celebrated by Cardinal Donald Wuerl with homilist Archbishop Thomas Wenski of Miami, Florida on Saturday, July 4th at 12 p.m. at the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception in Washington, D.C. In news from the Vatican, Pope Francis visited the Shroud of Turin over the weekend. Rome Reports has more on the Pope's visit.
Pope Francis visited Turin to pray in front of the Holy Shroud. He was welcomed to the cathedral with strong applause. There was silence as Pope Francis prayed for several minutes in front of the relic, which is said to have covered Jesus' dead body. When he finished praying, the Pope reached out and touched the frame that holds the shroud. Later, still inside the cathedral, he visited the tomb of Pier Giorgio Frassati, who is one of the patrons of World Youth Day. He then met with family members of the young man, who was beatified by Pope John Paul II in 1990. The Catholic Church does not have an official position on the authenticity of the Holy Shroud. Still, it is one of the most highly valued relics, and many people have visited it, including Pope Benedict XVI.
During his visit to Turin, the Pope also stopped at a Waldensian temple, asking the congregation for their forgiveness for the persecution that they suffered at the hands of the Catholic Church. In the name of Jesus Christ, the Pope said, "Forgive us." Pope Francis became the first pope in 800 years to visit a Waldensian place of worship. The historic gesture was just one of the events on the Pope's two-day visit to this region of northern Italy. The Pope, along with venerating the shroud, commemorated the 200th anniversary of the birth of St. John Bosco. He also spent private time with his Italian relatives who are from northern Italy. He had lunch with juvenile detainees, immigrants, and homeless people, visited with the sick, celebrated Mass in a major outdoor square, and met separately with workers, young people, and members of the Salesians. In news from around the world, in Mexico, the Supreme Court has declared that state-level laws defining marriage only as a union of man and woman discriminatory and unconstitutional. The ruling, in effect, legalizes same-sex marriage in 31 of the country's states. The court's decision said that procreation was not a purpose for marriage, and therefore limiting marriages to heterosexual couples amounted to discrimination against other couples seeking marriage. The Mexican Bishops' Conference released a statement expressing their disappointment with the court's decree, reiterating their conviction that the family founded on a marriage of a man and a woman with reproductive ability guarantees the survival of society. The statement went on further to say that while the bishops value that no one should be subject to discrimination, as the first article of the Constitution states, this does not mean that the essence of marriage should be modified. And finally in the news, the Archbishop of Omaha, Nebraska, marked the closing of the archdiocesan phase of the canonization effort for Father Edward Flanagan with a special Mass celebrated by Archbishop Lucas and attended by about 800 people. The Mass honoring the founder of Boys Town was held at St. Cecilia Cathedral in Omaha. 4,600 pages of documents detailing the Archdiocese's 3-year investigation were officially encased and sealed in 4 boxes. The documents will be shipped to the Congregation for Saints' Causes at the Vatican. If the findings are accepted, recognizing Father Flanagan's heroic virtue, he will be declared venerable. From there, 2 more miracles attributed to the intercession of Father Flanagan will have to be approved to move to beatification and then eventually to canonization. Well, that is all the information we have for you at this time. I'm Kevin Nelson. Don't forget, you can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week with Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV network.